Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Talk with RJ. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And last night, the Yankees got a win 7-1 over the White Sox. They've been playing okay these last couple games. They won that last series against the Rays, and they obviously split with the Astros, and then they've split with the White Sox so far. But they got to do more. This team has got to do more. Yes, they have played better of late, but they have to do more. They got to start hitting. They got to start hitting consistently. Glaber's got to start hitting consistently. Stanton's got to continue to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, I know he went 0 for 6 on Sunday, but he's got to keep hitting. Same with Harrison Bader. And it was nice to see Judge hitting a home run last night, too. So it was nice to see the lineup hitting the ball. And also, you got a really good start from Clark Schmidt. So it was nice to see that. So right now, they're four games out of that last wild card spot. And they just got to keep winning. They got to win tonight. They got to keep winning these series. They can't lose a series tonight. They got to win these series. And they got two tough teams coming up with the Marlins, who weren't playing as well, though. And then they got the Braves, so they just got to keep winning these series, and get into that series against Toronto in September and having a chance. They got to get to that series against Toronto in September, and be in striking distance. And that starts with playing good baseball for the next month. It
does, and I thought for them, during this 9-game road trip, you had to go like 6-3, and I felt like you had to kind of you either had to sweep the White Sox or the Marlins, because you're not going to Atlanta and winning 2 games. There's no absolute chance right now. Unfortunately, they lost their shot Monday, and I don't feel great about tonight.
Yeah, because they don't have a starter.
No, they don't. So, that's a little worrying. But yeah, they've been playing a little bit better. Like, again, Sunday was tough, because they left so many guys on base and they scored 7 runs. And then Monday night they left like 13 guys on. They couldn't find a way to knock any of them in. They had the bases loaded 3 times. But
last night was better they were better last night with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, they were a little bit better last night, which again, I would like to say, okay, maybe that's gonna continue to happen, but I don't really expect it to happen with the team right now. Yeah, the lineup right now, they got to hit consistently. That's been their big issue. Yeah, it was nice to see Judge because he was kind of a little bit of a slump, but like you can't be surprised. He had no rehab games. Like, hopefully his timing's starting to get going now. But yeah, they need Stan to get going. Bauer's been better than advertised for him, so it's been nice. But yeah, they need like a Glaber to get going as well. They need guys kind of at the bottom, hopefully Volpe as well. But yeah, this team's got to play better. Again, I feel like you got to sweep now. Like you got to win tonight and then sweep Miami, for this to kind of be a successful kind of road trip.
Or at least take 2 out of 3 from Miami and then try to take 2 out of 3 from Atlanta. But we know taking 2 out of 3 from Atlanta is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, it absolutely will. I know the Braves are, I think they came back last night, I think, against Pittsburgh. I know like right now they're kind of just in cruise control. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I kind of, there's a chance, there's a tiny chance they could take 2 out of 3, but yeah, be a lot easier if they just sweep Miami. I know they got to face that Perez kid on Sunday, but
yeah, it's a good matchup Sunday with Yuri Perez against Garrett Cole.
Yeah. Oh, it's Cole. Okay. So with Cole, that's gonna be another one where runs are gonna be a premium. Hopefully they can get Garrett Cole a couple of them. But yeah, I feel like you got to be able to, I think, at this point, sweep Miami.
Oh yeah, I would say at least 2 out of 3. I think it's gonna be tough, even though Miami hasn't played well recently. It's gonna be tough to sweep them. I think you got to take 2 out of 3. But the point is, this team's got to win series. I don't think they should be losing. The only series that I'll accept them losing for the rest of the year is the Atlanta series, and I think the only series they really can afford to lose for the rest of the year is the Atlanta series. But because don't forget, Seattle's ahead of them now. They're not second. They're in. I think they're in the 5th wild card. They're in the 6th wild card position because Seattle's ahead of them right now. So they can't afford to lose. So the only series maybe they can afford to lose Atlanta because it's a National League team. But after that, I think they got to win them all to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're 2.5 back of Seattle. They do have that tiebreak because they did win the season series 4-2. You've been flip-flopping the Red Sox recently. I know you got the Red Sox. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
And we got the Red Sox coming to the Bronx the final time in about a week and a half from now. So
I think whoever loses that series is done. I think that is eliminated. Whoever loses that series is eliminated.
Yeah, I completely agree with you and especially like at the Yankees, like they would be down possibly because they're already down the series 5-1. So you lose 2 out of 3, you already lose a season series. So
yeah,
absolutely, be tough. But yeah, that'll be a big one. But yeah, coming up, I feel like you got to start sweeping some of these teams too. It's nice to take 2 out of 3, but at some point too, you got to start sweeping. You got to try to go on like a 3-4 game winning streak here, which I don't know the last time they've had like an extended winning streak. It's been a while for them. So yeah, it's nice to win series, but I feel like at some point at the end here, you got to start trying to sweep some of these teams. And actually, they did sweep the Royals about a month ago or a couple.
But they're the Royals at home. You expected that. You expected
they
do that.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah, obviously they hoped they would have done, and they did. But they got to start sweeping some of these teams, and would have been nice to sweep the White Sox with everything going on there. I know you got the Nationals coming up, but they're starting to play. I know they stink, but they're starting to play a little bit better. So look, you got to start winning series, but also you got to start sweeping some of the teams that you should. Like they got Detroit end of the month, the beginning
6 games against Detroit. Those got to be at least 5 wins. They got Washington for 3. I think that's got to be a series they got to sweep. They go to Pittsburgh in right before they play that 3-game series against Toronto. That weekdays 3-game weekday series against Toronto. That they got a 3-game set in Pittsburgh. That's got to be a sweep. So yeah, they got to take advantage against these bad teams, or there's no way this team's going to come close to being in it by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And they end the year at Kansas City, so it's like if you could just hang around, be like a game out going to the final weekend. You're going to Kansas City. You can be back. You find a way to get yourself in there. But yeah, you gotta kind of keep hanging around. Again, now you got Judge back, and you kind of got to go like on a 10-game. The next like 10, you got to find a way to go like one of these. You got to go like 7-3, something like that. In 10 games. That's how you're gonna make up some ground here. I know Seattle's been like up and down, but that's they still got a really good pitching staff. Like that team's gonna be around to the end. We'll see what happens with Boston. the Angels look like they're kind of fading, unfortunately, here for them. But yeah, they got to start winning some of these series. They got to start getting some sweeps, and that they're tonight comes down to just get tonight against the White Sox team that is just so dysfunctional right now.
Absolutely, yeah, and we'll get to them too because of what happened this week. But yeah, you got to win tonight. You got to start winning, especially the Marlins this week, and we'll get to that series this week. And you got Friday night. You got Cortez against Luzardo. I feel like that's got to be a win. The way Nestor pitched, you were there on Saturday. The way Nestor pitched, I feel like that's got to be a win against the Marlins because this definitely is a Marlins team that definitely came down to earth this year. And then you got Saturday. I think this will probably be Brito because Rondon went on the IL. I think this is going to be Brito against Alcantara. But Alcantara hasn't pitched well this year. Let's be honest. The Marlins were really good in the first half this year, despite the way Alcantara pitched. So that's got to be another game. That's another winnable game. And then Sunday's a 50-50 game. Yuri Perez has pitched really well, but Garrett Cole should be the AL Cy Young Award winner. So there is no reason with the talent. The Yankees are the more talented team. There's no reason why they shouldn't take 2 out of 3 in Miami this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to. Taking 2 out of 3 would be very nice. Going in Atlanta, you win tonight. You're going in there. 4-2 so far on the road trip. So wouldn't be bad. But yeah, it'd be nice. It's a Miami team that kind of thought a couple weeks. They've been kind of falling back down to earth because at one point I think they were 17 games over 500. Now they're down to 1. So yeah, it's a team right now that's struggled to hit. And you looked at the run differential and it kind of felt like at some point they were going to come back down to earth. It has now. So you got to take advantage. It's a good pitching staff. So run. I know Alcantara's been struggling, but Perez has been really good. Luzardo's been decent. So runs are going to be a premium. So when they have the opportunities, they got to find a way to score it. And with Nestor, it was nice because his velocity was up. He's hit 94, 95. I think even one pitch he had 96. So usually he's in the low 90s. So again, they're going to need length. Proud of some of these pitchers. They're going to need that from Nestor. So yeah, hopefully Nestor, pitches well. And actually, I just quickly, because I don't know if Saturday, if Yes turned this thing off or not before. But when Sand got thrown at home, he actually looked at Rojas and actually looked at him and actually put his hands up like, "What are you doing sending me there?" So I don't know if Yes actually showed that.
No, I was back and forth from that in the Hall of Fame ceremony, but yeah, I don't know if they showed it or not too. But yeah, it seemed like Stanton was kind of jogging, but I don't get why Rojas would have sent him there.
Yeah, I don't either. That was interesting. So yeah, I do. Something I noticed after was he just threw his hands up and was kind of like, I don't know what you're thinking there, but that was just kind of the one little thing I want to say about Stanton and what happened there Saturday. He was out by a mile, but big series with Miami. They got to take 2 out of 3. Hopefully, Stan goes back home and or goes back to his former team and has a big weekend. That'd be nice.
Oh, absolutely. And now we will move on to the Red Sox. And let me tell you something. What they didn't do last week came back to bite them this weekend. Came back to bite them so badly this weekend against the Blue Jays. I don't think they did not have a pitcher that pitched more than 5 innings. Sunday's game was an absolute disgrace, losing 13-1. That was absolutely disgraceful. They get swept to Toronto without Bo Bichette. Then they win. They get that grand slam on against the Royals. Monday night, they get the grand slam. But then last night was an even bigger disgrace. This pitching staff is not good enough to be a championship team. And Chaim Bloom needed to realize that. He didn't want – he thought, we're going to get Chris Sale back. We got Corey Kluber back. Corey Kluber has been terrible this year. Terrible. Chris Sale, you can't rely on him. You needed to get an arm at the trade deadline, and you refused to do it. And that's why right now, the Red Sox, yes, what's going to keep them alive is the easy schedule they have. They got a couple more with the Royals. They got 4 with the Tigers, and they got 3 with the Nationals. But after that, it's going to get really, really difficult for them, and there's a great chance that this team misses the playoffs. And let's be honest, there's a good chance they might not even finish over 500. I know they got Trevor Story back, but I think there's a good chance they don't finish over 500.
Yeah, that seems a little bit more possible because it kind of felt like Saturday. Verdugo was in the starting lineup, but didn't show up to 2 hours before the game.
And I think Cora did the right thing to bench him there. I think Cora definitely did the right thing. And let me tell you, none of these struggles are on Alex Cora. This is not on Alex Cora. This is on the guy upstairs. If they get rid of Cora and extend Bloom, then their organization's clearly a joke.
Yeah, it would be. The only thing I blame Core is their defense. Their defense this year has been horrific.
Yeah,
I
but
think they lead the MLB.
Yeah, but who's putting those players on the field? It's not Cora. It's Heim. Yeah.
But like you would think, I would assume they do work on stuff, but their defense just. I'm like, Devers gotten worse defensively this year. You know, like I thought maybe he just had the yips, but like he's not great defensively. Again, he'll make up for it with his bat, but defensive. That's maybe the only thing I'd blame Cora. That is maybe the defense just hasn't been great. But yeah, there's not much else you could blame Alex Cora on. This team. The pitching staff right now. I know you'll get Sale back Friday night. He's projected to go Friday night. That's kind of the target date right now. But yeah, like you hope he's healthy for the rest of the year. But yeah, it's a big question mark. And again, like they're gonna have Pivetta tonight, who last time he did kind of start, like he's coming straight out from the bullpen. Like he's not warming up in the bullpen, coming back to sit in the dugout for 5 minutes. Like he kind of said mentality wise, he likes just coming out of the bullpen. So maybe he does have a good start tonight against Kansas City. They need it, against Jordan Laws, who I know has won 2 straight, but like I think the Royals are 3-18 now when he starts. So tonight's a one you gotta win. But yeah, it just kind of felt like maybe with this team not doing the trade deadline, it took some of the wind out of their sails. Because even Devers said before the trade deadline, we need pitching. Everybody knows we need pitching, and yeah, Heim didn't really do that. They got the 2 guys for Kike Hernandez, but they're going to be more like, they're going to be back and forth between AAA and the major league level. So, they're not going to be great help, but yeah, it kind of felt like their wins kind of knocked out of the sails. Yeah, this week against Toronto was, very disappointing. It's just, and it's tough to win games when you have to jog out openers 3 times a week. It just, it's tough to win those type of games.
You're jogging out openers when you did absolutely nothing at the trade deadline to improve the rotation. It makes no sense at all. It makes 0 sense at all. And let me tell you, if they don't make the playoffs, he has got to go. He has got to go. Or the other thing is he might be instructed by ownership not to do anything. It's one or two things. He just doesn't. He just came from Tampa, doesn't want to spend the money, or give up prospects, or ownership just doesn't want him doing anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting what they do, because if they miss the playoffs, it'd be a second straight year. I know they weren't supposed to be great this year, but you kind of had an opportunity. You still have an opportunity to get in the playoffs, and you try to capitalize on that, especially in a city like Boston. You'd think you would, but they just haven't. They're 2-8 their last 10. Who was it this week? It was like Ian Browning this week. One of their writers was saying the guy that Chaim Bloom loses the most sleep over that they've lost since he came to Boston. It's not Mookie. It's not JD Martinez. It's not Bogarts.
Nathan Eovaldi?
No, it's not Eovaldi. It's Jeffrey Springs.
Who's that?
He's on Tampa. He's out this year with Tommy John. That's the guy he's lost the most sleep on.
Oh yeah, because he loves these prospects.
Yeah. And Springs was so bad for him in 2020, and he had a decent year last year at the Rays. So like I guess he's lost sleep over that. He lost them and he gave them up to Tampa Bay. So it's not any of those guys like JD that's still having a great year in LA, or Eovaldi or Michael Wacha, who have pitched really well all year. It's Jeffrey Springs, but you would think he's on the hot seat. But I don't really know. It's interesting. Nobody in Boston really likes them. One of the radio shows, like they've been using like an AI kind of bot voice, like, and they they call him like Chaim Bloom. They like they're making fun of him that he's a robot. Like no, people in Boston can't stand him. So there might be some pushback if they somehow keep him. But like I don't really know. Like it just kind of seems like some people with this team aren't really totally bought in, because but again, it's kind of what's happened. That he's trying to make it Tampa North. He's trying to build it like Andrew Fried has in LA with the Dodgers. And it's just
but the Dodgers have went out and spent a ton of money. That's the difference. Yeah. The Red Sox really since they traded Mookie Betts haven't really spent money. And that's turned into a major issue. They last place finished in 2020. Yes, 2021 they got to the NLCS. Last place finished last year, and this year, I think they're on their way to a last place finish. I really think they are. And let me tell you, and the thing is after they play the Royals, Tigers, and Nationals, they only have 6 games for the rest of the year against teams with a losing record. I think it's 3 against the Royals, and then 3 late in the year against the White Sox. That's it. They still got to play the Orioles 7 times. They still got to go to Texas 3 times. They still got 3 games against the Blue Jays. They still got 3 games in Tampa. They got 7 games against the Astros. Their schedule is brutal after starting next Friday when they play the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Their schedule is brutal after that, and you're really going to see this. You're really going to see what this team is made of. That's why I'm saying I would not be surprised if this team finishes at 500 or even under 500.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this team probably going to finish right around there. I just, this was a big week against Toronto. You could kind of gain a couple more games up on them, and they came in there and they kicked you around, and you just, and even that week at Seattle, you lost 2 out of 3 there. Those are 2 kind of big series to gain some ground on the two teams in front of you. So yeah, it's, kind of disappointing. I know you got the Royals and Detroit coming in for the next 6. I think you got to win 5 out of the 6 left in this homestand. Or they got 5 left. I mean, you got to win 4 out of the 5. And then hopefully Washington, you take 2 out of 3 going there. And then you got the Astros twice at the end of the month. You mentioned they got the Dodgers in between that Astros series. So yeah, this is a huge kind of next 5 game or next 8 games. Like you got to win 6 out of your next 8 here to really kind of keep yourself going there. And again, them and the Yankees have been kind of flip-flopping here. They're 3 games out behind the Mariners. But yeah, you like to gain some ground now before you do have that huge stretch at the end of the month where, yeah, you're going to struggle and you're probably going to lose a couple games. And, you don't want to fall more, you can't fall more behind than you are right now. So yeah, there's a big kind of next kind of week for them right now.
If they're in last place after August 20th, after they play that 3-game series in the Bronx, if they're in last place, they're not making the playoffs. There's no way they make the playoffs, seeing the schedule that they'll have and seeing all the teams that are going to be in front of them, seeing the fact that the Yankees will be in front of them, seeing the fact that the Mariners will be in front of them. So they'll have 2 teams in front of them for that last wild card spot, and they'll probably be 5-6 games out of that spot with a brutal schedule. So if they're not ahead of the Yankees by August 20th, there is no way this team makes the playoffs.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Just looking at that schedule, it's daunting. And yeah, they can't take advantage against teams like the Royals, the Tigers, and Nationals coming up, and even the team like the Yankees who aren't playing well and who they've had their number with this year. Yeah, if you can't find a way to gain some ground, gain a couple spots here, then yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a very good chance that you finish in 5th place yet again. And yeah, 3 out of 4 years is not be very tough, I think, for Chaim Bloom to survive his job, because in Boston, in that market, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, it definitely is not. It definitely is not acceptable. Now we will move to the biggest story in baseball over the last week, and that is the brawl in Cleveland. Now, this was a crazy brawl between the White Sox and Guardians Saturday night. It started when Jose Ramirez slid underneath Tim Anderson, and then Tim Anderson started swinging, and then they started going, and then you saw Jose Ramirez throw a punch and knock down Tim Anderson. So crazy brawl. Anderson was suspended for 6 games, Ramirez for 3, and I think the suspensions were fair because Anderson started the fight.
Yeah, it's I've never seen Jose Ramirez lose his cool like that, because he's been somebody who's taking the less money to go to just stay in Cleveland. He's been really relatively like a really quiet guy, and I know he kind of mentioned that he's told Tim Anderson it's something about the tag. I guess I didn't see anything like outrageous, but I guess he's Ramirez was talking like, yeah, I've told him multiple times about it, and I know other guys in the league have kind of told him, we don't like the way you tag us or something, and that was Ramirez got the better of him. Even the ump actually started kind of acting like he was reffing the boxing match. I
know, it's crazy.
The way his position. It was a crazy brawl there. And I wonder too, just again, both sides just having very disappointing years. Both players just kind of letting some frustration out. I don't know if you saw the Monday article too about Anderson and Yasmani Grandal. Like I think I know Anderson's kind of been a little bit emotional, but I think he's a guy that wants to win, and it's kind of looking for maybe a couple of leaders in that clubhouse in Chicago. But yeah, that was a crazy brawl there, and the call too. I forgot the Cleveland.
Tom Hamilton,
guy.
awesome.
Yeah, that
down
was
goes
awesome
Anderson.
Call.
Down goes awesome call by Tom Hamilton there.
Yeah, he did a great job. But yeah, that was that was a real. I know sometimes we get these bench and clear things and we just get some shoving, but that was an actual brawl there, and I'll say.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. That was crazy. But it was entertaining to watch, but that definitely was crazy. But we're going to wrap up talking about the Orioles for the wrong reason. And this is sad for a 70-win team. Now, when this is what happened. They won a series against the Rays. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And their announcer Kevin Brown said, they've won more games at Tropicana Field this year than they have in the last 3 years combined. And then the Orioles were so sensitive to suspend their announcer for saying that. That is an utter disgrace. That is an utter disgrace for that organization to do something like that. It makes an organization who's had a great year look terrible to suspend their announcer because he makes a comment like that. That's a comment that any announcer would make.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that was all John Angelos. Like, I think he's the only guy that wanted this, and yeah, because again, he had actual facts that back it up. He never, again, I listened to it twice because I didn't know if I missed something, but like I was waiting for him to say, oh, like the team tanked or the team wasn't spending. Like I was waiting for him to kind of say something and take a shot at the, at like the owner or something for not spending or not trying, and he never did. Like it was complete facts, and I don't get why he was so sensitive to it. And yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm like, he was giving credit to your front office and your players for building this thing up. But I don't know why he took it the way he did. I just, it's sad. And, again, the O's fans had a great chant, Kevin Freeman chant last night. That was great. I know they were.
You mean free Kevin Brown?
Yeah, free Kevin Brown. And I know I guess the O's said they're going to reinstate him Friday night. So
they need to. They have to reinstate him. They got to do the right thing and reinstate him. This is an absolute disgrace that they did this. This is horrible. This is just a terrible look on the organization. I know they own part of that TV network. That's why they did it. But this is a terrible look on the organization. That's having a great season.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. Like, I know they lost a tough one last night, but yeah, like they've been on a roll lately. That team can't lose. And yeah, it's kind of taking, unfortunately, like the great season. This is kind of what we're kind of talking about is, that they suspended their announcer for literally giving the front office credit for building this team up. So yeah, it's disappointing, and I don't get why he's so sensitive. And yeah, it's ridiculous. And yeah, happy that'll be reinstated back Friday night because it's there was no need for him to be suspended for comments like that. That again, I don't get what the big issue was there.
Yeah, he's got to be back Friday night. It's, your team's having a great season, and you're just sensitive about him just saying something that was a fact. It was a fact. It's not like he said anything bad about women. It's not like he said anything bad about homosexuals. It's not like he said anything racist. He stated a fact, and the guy was suspended. It's horrible, and I'm happy he's being reinstated.
Yeah, absolutely. And like they were facts that TV broadcasting had all of it. Visualize. It's ridiculous. And yeah, it just, and like in the business broadcasting and all that, facts matter, having the facts matters. That he was doing his job and just point something out and giving credit to the team. And yeah, for whatever reason, Angelos just goes off and just has an issue with it. And, that's unfortunate. Hopefully be great for that city and that team that if the Angelos ever sell that team, but hopefully I don't think they have, doesn't seem like they're doing that anytime soon. Yeah, I agree with
Frank just said Frank just said screw the Orioles. For that, yes. That was terrible. I agree with Frank there. It was absolutely terrible what that organization did. It could not. It's just awful that you would you suspend somebody for that. And Frank, I wonder if Frank's a Marlins fan. And I wonder if he's going to any games this weekend down in Miami. I wonder if he's a Marlins fan because he's a Heat fan. We know he's a Dolphins fan. We know the Marlins are not followed the way the Heat and the Dolphins are followed down in Miami. We wonder if he's going to any games this weekend down in Miami when the Yankees go down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Miami, it looks like a interesting ballpark. And yeah, I've never been there. New park. Yeah, again, they don't draw well, so I can't imagine there'll be some decent tickets.
There'll be a lot of Yankee fans here this weekend.
Oh yeah, there will be. They don't play well. Yeah, we'll hear a lot of boo birds, but it's interesting to see if they'll be down there. Big series for the Yankees.
Absolutely.
No, okay, no, I'm not
really a baseball fan. Big series for the Yankees down there, and we'll see what happens. And to wrap up on the Orioles, this was an utter disgrace, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy he's going to be back in the booth on Friday night. And we got another comment from Frank. I've seen them play in LA than I have in Miami. Yeah. So that'll show you. But yeah, so big series for the Yankees. Just the Orioles. I'm happy he's back Friday, but the guy should have never, ever, 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 ever been suspended in the first place. But we got to move on to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is falling apart. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Pac-12. Frank just posted something in the chat. He said, I do want to go to one of the games if the Marlins win, I could rub it in Joe's face. Yeah, that is definitely good, Frank. Yeah. There's definitely a reason why you'd want to go to one of those games. It's definitely to rub it in Joe's face if the Marlins beat the Yankees. But let's get to the Pac-12, and there is no secret the Pac-12 is completely falling apart. It all started, we talked about it last week with Colorado leaving, but then the mass exodus has begun. Arizona State, they're going to the Big 12. Utah going to the Big 12. Arizona going to the Big 12. And then Oregon and Washington go to the Big 10. There's 4 teams left right now, and there might not even be 4 because Cal and Stanford have been talking to the ACC. It's Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State. Only 4 teams left in the Pac-12 right now. And the big question, Justin, is how surprised are you that this is falling apart so quickly?
I am surprised it's falling apart this quickly. I assumed at some point with this media deal, like this thing with Apple, it would have been a subscription-based thing. Frank's comment, more like the Pac-4.
It definitely is more like the Pac-4 right now. Yeah.
At some point, it's again very common. It's over 100 years old. It's about to go extinct in the next very very soon, unfortunately. And I hope Bill Walton's out there is doing okay because
Conference of Champions is going to be done soon.
Yeah, it will, and it's going to be disappointing. And it's I didn't think it was going to fall apart this quickly. But it absolutely has. And again, what they did wrong here, Larry Scott, their old commissioner, was, with making the Pac-12 network so hard to reach did not help them. And while the ACC and SEC network are both kind of have ties with ESPN and Big Ten networks, they're with Fox, and then you got the Longhorn Network too that's tied in with ESPN, and I know that'll be going away in about a year. But again, they had Texas back in 2010, and I don't know if Texas was always kind of bluffing, but then that's when the Big 12 said, okay, we'll give you your own network, and they stuck around. But the Pac-12 wasn't aggressive. They could have gone out when the Big 12 did and taken a couple of those kind of American teams or in a BYU. Like the Pac-12 could have tried to expand and could have kind of because again, at this point, it's just who can survive the survival of the fittest. And the Pac-12 just didn't do that. They just were not aggressive enough. And it's kind of what happened to the landscape right now in college football. Or in college sports in general. And it stinks. It stinks for all those Olympic sport kids. There's a couple softball players, that are part of the Pac-12 teams and kind of said, look, we're here to kind of, they're not excited about, they want to play in front of family and friends. They're not like USC and UCLA. You're not doing that in the Big Ten. Washington, Oregon, the same thing now. So I'm surprised it's falling apart this quickly. But yeah, the Pac-12 is done. Like at this point, I don't even know if like a Boise would jump ship. Like I think it's pretty tough right now. I think it's near the end, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people too in the Pac-12 offices, are going to lose their jobs.
The two questions here is first one is this good for college football? And the second one is this good for college athletics?
I would say no and no because
wow. I think it's yes and no. I think it's good for college football because the schools are going to make more money on the TV deals.
Yeah, for now. But again, all these contracts are up at about 2030 to 2032. Where's all the the money's going to dry up at some point. Like, these networks can't keep willy-nilly. I'm like, you're not going to be able to get more money. Like, the Big Ten is going to make $70 million a year. I don't think in 2031, when it's up, 2032, I don't think they're going to go up to like 90 million. Like, it's going to start drying up. And that's where I think things are going to be a little bit concerning. I like Florida State now. They're trying to it's another can of worms, or open a can of worms. They're starting to talk with private investment companies, JP Morgan, like to try to fund their sports. Like, it's the landscape is changing. So like in the short term, yeah, maybe it does help college football. I think they're it's turning into like a mini NFL with the SEC and the Pac-10 or the Big Ten. And I think you kind of lose some of, I think, people are still going to watch. I'm still going to watch, but I think in the long term, I don't think it's great. And for college athletics in general, like, again, for USC and UCLA and for these Olympic sport teams, they don't charter, they don't get their private planes. And USC and UCLA have such big Olympic sport programs, they have a bunch of Olympic athletes who have gone through those schools. That may hurt those sports a little bit because especially you get West Coast kids, they're not going to want to play in front of family and they're not going to have the opportunity to play in front of any family and friends.
They're going to be flying to Rutgers, and Rutgers going to be flying to them, which is crazy.
Yeah, this is not what conferences are meant to be. And, they're supposed to be regional. You're supposed to have some history and some rivalries, and that's kind of all getting lost in the fold. And it's disappointing for, these Olympic sport athletes. That's who, again, even for basketball teams, they'll have their private planes. But for the Olympic sports, again, like going to trying to think of a rural area, because actually like Penn State, like there's not like a major airport around there. You might have to stop at Chicago, lay over there, and then I don't know, like maybe another, maybe get I know there's a small airport.
You might have to fly to like Philadelphia. You might have to fly to Philadelphia.
Philly, yeah, and take the bus. And that's another hour and a half, 2 hours. Like it's not easy, So yeah, I think it stinks for these Olympic sport athletes. And then the final thing too, I'll say is look at the other teams that have kind of already have left their conference. From going Power 5 to Power 5. Like look at the ACC schools. BC, they haven't won anything. They haven't won an ACC championship. Miami's supposed to go in the coast and go rule that conference. They haven't won once. Virginia Tech's won 2, but again, their program right now is in a lot of trouble. Look at Texas A&M. Texas A&M's done nothing in the SEC. Missouri's been at 2 SEC conference titles, but that's when all those East teams were kind of all struggling there. So I just and look at Nebraska. Nebraska used to be one of the best programs in all college football. They're showing themselves now. They're again, no high school kid realized that Nebraska back in the 90s and even late, 2000, early 2010s that, they were a national, program and national brand. They're not anymore. So it really hasn't worked. So that's the only thing I too for some of these schools. Like it just, you think, sometimes the more money helps, but it hasn't really all translated to winning.
No, it has not really. The one school that's the only school I can think of benefiting from in football is TCU.
Yeah, but they went from Mountain West, so I'm saying like from Power 5 to Power 5.
Yeah, it really hasn't worked that much. So,
No.
So now that the Pac-12, they only got 4 teams left: Oregon State, Stanford, Cal, and Washington State. But there have been talks that Stanford and Cal might join the ACC. How realistic is that?
This one's interesting. Now, SMU's joined the fold as well, trying to get in the ACC, and they told the ACC that they come for free. Like, you don't even have to give us the TV money. We'll just show up.
Wow.
So Florida State's trying to do all they can right now to get the ACC. I don't know if they're going anywhere else, though. Like, I don't think the SEC is not interested. The Big Ten, they don't have the academics right now to get in, but they're trying to start more grant money into there. They're trying to apply for the AAU. It's called AAU, like what all like Big Ten programs are for like academics and all that. So like I think the ACC is trying to backfill and try to kind of, just in case of Florida State and Clemson do try to leave, hey, there's a couple other schools. But like Stanford and Cal, I don't think move the needle. Football, Stanford doesn't really care much for football anymore. That's why I wouldn't be shocked they go independent and go out in the Mountain West for the rest of their sports. Cal would struggle as an independent. I don't know if they'd be able to field the team, and most of their athletics, again, their story, their basketball, they don't really fund much for basketball at all. So I could see it happening, but I don't know. But this could be something where ESPN's trying to kind of get them in the fold. I don't know if these presidents really want that, because it's a logistical nightmare to have Cal and Stanford try to travel all the way to the East Coast. It just doesn't work. So I think it's a possibility. I could see the ESPN's trying to, make this happen, but I don't know if the presidents do. And I know Jim Phillips is very big in the academics, and Stanford and Cal would really help that in the ACC, but I think it's possible if they really, really wanted to, but I don't think they will. There's like 6 days. August 15th is like the cutoff, I believe, for teams that want to start in a new conference next year. I don't think they move in the next 6 days. So I think it's another round of maybe they come back in the next year or so and talk about this. But I think maybe in the future it's possible. But right now, the next 6 days or so, I don't think Cal or Stanford are going to be going to the ACC.
So I think we talked about this a little bit last week. How close are we to getting 2 super conferences in college football? You see the Big Ten having 18 teams and the SEC having 16 teams. How close are we to getting 2 super conferences?
I think we're getting closer and closer. And this is the unfortunate part where what's going to happen the rest of the conference is going to turn in like an FCS situation. Like, are they going to be like the FBS plus? Like, the Big Ten might have some interest in Florida State. Like, I think could see at some point the Big Ten try to go to 20. The SEC right now, they kind of said they're not going to force. Like, they're kind of going to wait around and kind of fish out here and kind of, see what happens, and they'll expand if they feel like they need to. But yeah, I think we're getting closer and closer, and I think that's unfortunate. The Big 12's trying. They fit for a basketball purpose in like a big conference, but football wise, they don't really have a national brand. So I feel like we're getting closer and closer, and because now with the Pac-12, now there might be where they change this whole auto bid thing for the college football playoff. So look, I could see at some point the ACC or the Big Ten SEC kind of say, yeah, we'll have a 12-team playoff, but it'll be it'll it'll be our two conferences playing in it, something like that. Like I could see, when the contract's up next time for the college football playoff, maybe something something like that happens. I hope not, but I think at some point, again, I wouldn't be surprised at some point if bowl conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, have 24 teams each. I really wouldn't be that surprised.
I wouldn't be either. Just very, very difficult times in college sports right now. It's not a good time for traditionalists at all because the traditions are going away in these conferences. But we got to move on to the NFL. And yesterday, Ron Rivera commented on Eric Bieniemy's on some of the players that are concerned about Eric Bieniemy's intensity in practice. Now, you could say one or two things. You could say, "Oh, Bieniemy's being too hard on the players," or you could say, "Oh, the players are being too soft. They don't want to be coached hard." Yes, it could be one of those two things. I get it. But I think the biggest thing here is Ron Rivera should never let this leave the locker room. It is a huge mistake for Ron Rivera to make this leave the have this leave the locker room because you're giving the perception now is that you and Bieniemy are not on the same page. And I'm starting to think that Ron Rivera is doing this because if things go wrong, he wants to save his job. He wants to save his job and put it on Bieniemy. Say the offense isn't good and this year and the team and the team is bad. I think he wants to save his job because there's a good chance. Say Sam Howell puts up pretty good numbers and the team finishes 7-10 or 8-9 again, and Rivera gets fired. There's a good chance Eric Bieniemy gets this job. Yeah,
that's a great point. With Rivera, because I don't know how something like this, he never should have opened his mouth about this. And I think you make a really good point. He's trying to save himself here. He's trying to save his behind. And and I know a bunch of Chief players have all kind of defended Bieniemy. And look, Rivera too with the comments last year about having not realizing that they're already eliminated from the playoffs. Talking about that and it's very odd right now. And I think it's ridiculous comments. And I could see it. Where Bieniemy, because more than likely Bieniemy, if Ron Rivera gets fired, Bieniemy's probably going to be the interim head coach. And again, he's going to have his chance finally to kind of lead a locker room. And I think Rivera's trying to save his behind, and it's not great. It's something that it's weird. And it kind of felt like Washington culture with Dan Snyder out now that, hey, maybe some good's going to happen. And it's kind of takes a little bit of a step back here of that.
Absolutely. You can't, if you're having an issue like this in your locker room, it stays with your team. You don't go out into the media and start talking about this stuff. It stays with your team. You shouldn't be doing this. I think he made a huge mistake making this public, going out in the media and talking about this.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And he did. And again, football is an intense sport, and again, I think everything that probably Bieniemy is doing is probably what he was doing probably in Kansas City. Maybe it's probably different kind of
they're in culture
philosophy.
shock. They're not used to it. They're in culture
Yeah.
shock. They're not used to a guy that's won 2 Super Bowls and that is demanding. They're used to Scott Turner, who is nowhere near as demanding as Eric Bieniemy.
No, you're completely right. And I think, it's some of these guys maybe having a tough time maybe dealing with that and trying to figure that out and don't really like it. And, and it's something where, if you want to win, you kind of, the intensity is going to be up there. And that's why Kansas City's been successful under Bieniemy and Andy Reid for so long. So, again, Rivera never should have let this leave the locker room. It's probably, do the players kind of lose trust in that coach too now a little bit, that this guy's kind of calling us out, calling things out here to kind of, so maybe you lose some of the locker room too now that this came out in public. So it'll be interesting. And Ron Rivera is definitely in the hot seat. And look, they lose to Arizona week 1. That hot seat's going to turn up very, very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And you made a good point. He could end up losing trust from players in the locker room because he's making comments like this, especially with the guys on offense, especially the guys like the Terry McLaurins, especially with the guys like Brian Robinson. He definitely could lose respect in the locker room for making comments like this, because usually you have an issue like this, you keep it in-house.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not, coaches don't really say things out like this out in public, because because it looks, makes the players look like, yeah, it makes the players look bad in the situation. And, Rivera looks bad for saying it, but yeah, it also makes the players look bad. So yeah, it's something that shouldn't leave the locker room. It never should have. And yeah, it's disappointing. And to watching it again, their defense really talented. They, have a shot in the NFC to kind of find a way to sneak into a wild card spot. But yeah, this kind of hurts it a bit. And yeah, we'll kind of see how the players kind of feel about Rivera saying this type of stuff. Because yeah, it's something that just should never be out in public.
He later apologized. He apologized this morning, but the problem is he said it yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said it yesterday, and he shouldn't have said it. And I think this could be an issue for this team going into the season.
Yeah, they absolutely could. And we're going to see if these guys have Rivera's backs or not. And we'll find out very quickly because they got a tough schedule to start out here. So we'll find out very, very quickly if they still kind of believe in Rivera, if they still want him leading that locker room.
Yeah, and it's a huge year for him because he's had 3 years where he's won. He had 7 wins his first year. I know he got to the playoffs. He had 7 wins year 1, 7 wins year 2, 8-1 last year. So he has not had a winning season yet. And I know he made the playoffs once, but he hasn't had a winning season yet in Washington. Another losing season, he's probably going to be gone.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with new owners too. New owners may want their own guy. So he's got that against him too now. So yeah, absolutely. If things don't go well for him, especially early, yeah, if they win like another 6-7 games, yeah, I could really find, yeah, it would not be too surprised to see him, out the door.
Absolutely. Now, a big story in training camp is some of the holdouts. We got, Chris Jones, we got Nick Bosa, we got Jonathan Taylor, we got Zach Martin. We got a lot of key players that are holding out. But the biggest question is which great player holding out is most concerning? And for me, it's Nick Bosa. And here's the reason why. He is such a huge part of that team. I remember when he got hurt in 2020, that defense wasn't as good, and that team wasn't as good. That team went 6-10. I think it's definitely Nick Bosa because he's the best defensive player in the league, and that team doesn't have a great quarterback. So I feel like Nick Bosa is a necessity for this Niners team, and they got to get a deal done. I know Chris Jones is very important, but there's also Patrick Mahomes on the other side. They also got Patrick Mahomes on offense. Zach Martin, yes, he probably second. I put him second. I put him second to Nick Bosa, but they still have Tony Pollard. They still got Dak Prescott, and then you got Jonathan Taylor. The Colts this year, they're probably not going to go anywhere. So to me, it's clearly Nick Bosa.
Yeah, for me, I took Josh Jacobs, last year's leading rusher in the NFL.
That's a good one. But my only issue with that one is the Raiders again are really not playing for anything. No. But they're not in a technical rebuild because they still, I think, feel like they might be able to win with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, and I feel like with Jimmy, he kind of needs a running game, and the guys who will probably be starting for Josh Jacobs are not great. They got like Zaire White. I think they got Brandon Bolden still, I believe. So yeah, they got him, Amir Abdul. Brandon Bolden still on that team. Like I feel like Jimmy G needs that running game, that play action to kind of help out. And they don't, outside of, they do have some good wide receivers, but again, that defense is not great. Like they're gonna have to put up points to score, and in that division without Josh Jacobs, I feel like it's going to be such an uphill battle. It's a big year for McDaniels. Like he's got to, they got to be better than they were last year, and especially too, the way he kind of got rid of Derek Carr as well. Like if things kind of go wrong and Jimmy G does not play well or gets hurt and he's out most of the year, and then Derek Carr goes down there and wins a division title in New Orleans, it says it's not going to look good for McDaniels. And again, it's going to hurt that he doesn't have one of the best running backs in all of football in Josh Jacobs, who was your workhorse last year, who also caught over 50 passes out of the backfield. So I think for the Raiders, again, it's not going to be a great team anyway. With him, it wouldn't be great, but they'd have again, he'd win them a couple games with how much he kind of impact. But I just without him, their defense is not going to be great still, and I don't think with Jimmy G and without really much of a running game, they're gonna struggle to score points, I think, at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying Bosa because the Niners have a really good chance to win the Super Bowl this year, And if he misses significant time and say they have to go back to Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game, that lessens their chance of winning a championship.
Yeah, that was probably my number 2. And yeah, Bosa is a huge part of that Niners team. And yeah, that Niners team has a chance, and that NFC is wide open. Like, it's really them and the Eagles. Like, them and the Eagles are on a path to face off the NFC Championship game. And yeah, you're going to need a guy like Nick Bosa to get you over the top, especially your quarter, especially because you got a guy you're going to have to go up against, Jalen Hurts, and you're going to have to put up some points. And yeah, do we really trust Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold, whoever the 3 start? Like, yeah, do we trust them to kind of
they haven't proven to us that they could be top quarterbacks in the league. Neither of the 3 of them have.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's going to be tough to, I don't think any of those 3 have a great chance to win a game if they get in a shootout with Philly. So, yeah, Bosa was right there as well because, yeah, he's been a huge part of that defense. And, yeah, it's a team that definitely could win a Super Bowl. And, again, you can pretty much pencil in the Niners and Eagles being NFC Championship game. Like, you could right now at this point.
I wouldn't pencil it in. I wouldn't pencil it in because of injuries and everything, but they're the clear favorites in the NFC.
Yeah, that's a better word. They are definitely the 2 clear favorites right now. Injury could always change everything, but yeah, like they're they're on like a collision course right now to face off the NFC Championship game.
Absolutely. So we're gonna wrap up talking about the joint practice between the Giants and the Lions, and today was better. Yesterday was a very, very rough day for the Giants. So Daniel Jones went 5 for 12. He missed Darren Waller a couple times, and I heard someone say this was the worst the Giants offense looked since training camp. So that's not a great sign, but it's only a joint practice. You're going to have some bad days. And it was the first day against a new opponent, and they definitely were better today. So I feel like yesterday's struggles were just first day against a new opponent, and it happens. It happens sometimes, especially when you've been just playing against yourself for almost 2 weeks. When you get a new opponent in there, sometimes you struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. First time, facing a new defense this year. Well, it's still a new target for them. Like, they're still kind of getting the chemistry down, I bet. Like, yeah, today was better, which is a good sign. So, yeah, I just think today was – or, yesterday was a little bit of struggle, kind of an adjustment for them. And, yeah, again, sometimes you are really excited to kind of face a new team and finally get to hit somebody besides your own teammates. But, yeah, I know the Lions defense isn't great, but, yeah, it's still kind of one practice and, getting some rust off there because, I think – and, yeah, I think, again, the Giants offense will be fine. Again, if today they said today was as bad as it was yesterday, I'm a little bit concerned. I'll be, you're still maybe a little bit concerned, but like today was better. I think the Giants offense is, they'll be fine. There may be some growing pains, but they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, adding Darren Waller to this offense, I think was a really, really good addition. They also got Paris Campbell in the slot now. Their offensive line should be improved. Evan Neal should be better than he was last year. So, I don't really have an issue with what happened. It happens. You go out, you're playing live football. Sometimes that happens. I really don't have an issue. I got the same confidence that I had. My confidence level did not change in the Giants because of one bad joint practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it showed. And have they announced if the Stars are playing Friday night?
They haven't. I don't think they've announced it yet. The Patriots announced it.
They're not playing anybody.
They're not playing anybody yet.
Yeah, I won't be watching. I don't really need to see us play the second. I don't really. Yeah, I'm not going to learn much from second teamers playing the Texans first team. So.
The only thing interesting about that game though is C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I probably watch a little bit of that, but it's tough to Yeah, you watch a little. I'll watch a little bit of that probably, but yeah, it'll be tough to kind of take away because he's playing second teamers, but you can see how he looks and all that.
Yeah, we'll see. So the Giants really, tough joint practice on Tuesday, better practice today. So. I'm not concerned. I still think they're going to have a really good year. And we got the opener tomorrow night. We got C.J. Stroud. Hopefully C.J. Stroud plays against the Patriots tomorrow night.
Yeah, it sounds like he is. Last I heard, it sounded like he is. So, yeah, I would assume he probably plays a little bit. And, yeah, we'll see. And, yeah, I'm not, maybe I'll watch a little bit of see Bailey Zappi and see if there's people still clamor about Bailey Zappi being the starting quarterback.
Oh, there's going to be fans that are going to be clamoring for to be the starter.
Oh yeah,
there definitely are. So we'll see what happens there. We'll end up seeing what happens there. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. We'll be back next week talking about the Yankees and Red Sox and any NFL or college news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.